you should expect that whatever could possibly go wrong will go wrong. And then do everything you can to make sure it does not go wrong.
Beforehand.
People bought air during COVID, and that was one situation that taught me that no matter what you're doing, if you market aggressively, you will sell. If you're in business, people need to know about it. You can't have a good product that nobody knows about. The world must know about it. It's just like, how the Bible says, you cannot be the light of the world and be hiding under a chair or be hiding somewhere. How will people see the light if you hide it?
Hello, Africa, and you're welcome to another episode of CEO Unscripted on Mr. Jegs Africa. This episode is going to be very insightful. I know I say that every time, but hey, do I lie? No. So, with me, I have the CEO of Lery right in front of me. So, you'll be ready to travel with us, literally, on her journey, an interesting journey of building a business through being an African, which some people say it may be a disadvantage already, and thriving in Nigeria, Africa. Welcome with me, Lery, Mrs. Oiku, as I call her once in a while, but welcome with me, Lery.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jegs. Thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you too. I did mention that she's a serial entrepreneur. She's built many businesses, and she's going to take us on that journey because she makes it look easy. Like you just start a business and you blew, boom, and you just blew like that. So I know about, we've been family friends, and I know about your journey. But here, there are many young people who want to start a travel agency, who want to go into some kind of business, and they just look at you and say, oh, can I ever be like this lady? Seems like she never had to go through any struggle, any point in her life, and all. But yeah, can you take us through your journey? How did you come about Lery Travels? I know it's a group of company, but
right.
The one out there majorly is the Lery Travels.
Right.
Have you been doing it all your life? Did your parents do something related to that? Please shoot.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jegs. So first of all, my name is Omolere.
Yes.
Right. And Lery started off as a nickname, but now is a brand name. Lery is from my first name. So everybody calls me Lery. Yeah. Either call me Omo or Lery. And so what a lot of people don't know is that I started business at 10 years old.
At 10 years old?
Yes. I ran my first business at 10 years old.
You're making me feel like I've not done anything in my life.
No, it wasn't anything over the board. But then I sold chin-chin at 10 years old. Wow. And when I say I sold chin-chin, it wasn't chin-chin that was already produced. It was chin-chin I made by myself and sold. So I made it, I packaged it, and I sold. How did that come about? It came about from, I had an auntie that was living with us back then, and she used to make chin-chin, so she taught me. And then when she got married, and then she moved to our own house, people kept on asking for it from my mom's shop. And I told my mom, okay, let me continue now, let me sell it, right? And I sold it, and, so when I'm going to school in the morning, I'll tell my mom, okay, I'll give her the list. These are the things I want to buy at the market. So my
10 years old?
Yes. So my mom will buy the things, the flour, the butter, everything, and then she will bring it back. And then once I come back home, I'll quickly do my homework, and then I'll start mixing, changing. From there, even my brothers, I'll tell them, see, you cut for me, and then I'll give you this amount when you cut the chin-chin for me. So that's where my business journey started. And I would say right from when I was small, I've always loved doing business, because even in my primary school, we used to have this thing that at school our teachers used to do after exams, that period where children are just playing up and down. In my class, I remember as far back as when I was in primary 2, 6 years old or 7 years old, they would tell us to bring things from the house. So empty cornflakes packets, empty Milo cans, empty things. So we'll bring all those things.
Craft?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
we'll bring it up. Then we'll set up a table as a shop.
I see.
And then we'll make paper money. We design the money.
Yeah.
So we'll take turns. There'll be a shop owner.
Yeah.
And then other people will be coming to buy things.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to buy this. I want to buy Milo. How much is it? And then we'll have a prices. So I did all of that even as far back as primary school. Kudos to my primary school. But I loved that experience.
Okay.
Got to 10-year-old, I saw changing, and then I also did a printing business in secondary school.
Okay.
No, not at 10 years old. In secondary school, I think
Okay.
in SS3 or so, I did a
Wow.
printing business. And then in school, in university, I also had a printing.
Who were your customers in secondary school, by the way?
Well, okay, so in secondary school, it was a one-off.
Okay.
It was a one-off thing. There was need for someone to print past questions in maths for the whole set. And
I see.
we were about 80 or 100 in the set. So I was able to take off that. Initially, it didn't come off as, oh, I wanted to do business. It just came off as an opportunity, right? And my maths teacher needed someone to help do that process.
Yeah.
So I offered to help, right? And I wasn't even going to do any business with it or anything. But then, after I told him the price, okay, let's say printing for each copy was 100 naira, right? Yeah. And I told him, okay, this is the price. Does he want to print and all? And he said, okay. And that was like the exact price they gave me. I said, oh, they said they're printing for 100 naira. And then now says, okay, you know what? Just do it for everybody. I said, okay. And then I went back to the people and said, CEO, I'm doing 100 copies of 100 pages. So that's like, each booklet was like maybe 100 pages. And I'm doing 100 copies. So that's like, how many is that? That's like a million, right?
100 times 100.
100 times 100.
That's 10,000.
That's 10,000, right? So
times
I'm doing
100.
Yes. So I'm doing 10,000 pages. I'm printing this over this period of time. So what price are you going to give me? And then they crashed the price. Wow. Right? And that was that. That was one of I made that money. Right? And then in university, I had a printer, a personal printer, a very small printer that I had taken from my mom. And then all of a sudden, my friends will come, they want to print. So I'll be buying ink, everybody will be printing. No, that same day, I printed, come and print in D201.
What?
You can now print in D201, and then did that. So after school, went to NYSC. So first of all, in NYSC, I didn't want to just do the regular kind of job. I like teaching and I love maths, right? So I wanted to teach in a school. So I applied to a school, a well-known school in Lagos. I applied there. However, they didn't let me teach because of their, they said I didn't have a degree in education. I have a degree in accounting. And so they put me in the accounts office. But while I was doing my NYSC, I was always looking for opportunities to make extra sources of income. I never rely on one source of income. So I was always looking for opportunities to do that. And while I was serving, I was thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I do fashion designing? Do I do bead making? And then so I finally settled for bead making, right? But then I wasn't sure, will people buy beads? Do people wear beads? So I said, okay, let me do a sample test, right? And then so one day after church, I used to attend this then. So one day after church, I just stood by the gates of church when people were coming out, and I was like, okay, let me see how many people are wearing beads. And I realized that just in 30 minutes, 9 out of 10 ladies that came out were wearing beads. I said, that's it. So I'm going to do...
That was feasibility studies.
Exactly. I didn't know the name then, but that was what I did, right? So immediately, I didn't know how to make beads. I didn't know anything about it. So immediately, I started learning, right? So I didn't just say, oh, I want to do this, and I don't look for knowledge about it. Immediately, I started learning. So my NYSC, after, when I go on my CDS days, after CDS, I'll go to Ogba Retail Market, and I'm there till 8 p.m.
Wow.
And then on Saturdays, as early as 8 o'clock, I'm out of the house. And I'm at Ogba Market, inside the market, learning how to make beads. In short, the woman that was teaching me, she would say, it's okay now. I said, no, ma, I will close with you. Don't worry. And, I was there. And, I did that and I learned. And right from the first one I learned, I sold it.
Wow.
So I made a bid, completed it, wanted to work the next day, and then everyone was like, "Oh wow, your bids are so fine. Where did you get it?" I sell bids, and that was and that was it, right? So
Amazing.
after that, NYC. So I've not run business fully all through my life. I've actually worked a 9 to 5 for 4 years. So after NYC, I'm an accountant, a chartered accountant. After NYC,
You worked for 4 years?
yes, I worked for 4 years up
Okay.
till 2016.
Okay.
From 2012 to 2016, I worked for 4 years. So I got a job as a treasury manager
Okay.
in a multinational, and then so I was working there. Actually, I was interviewed for a sales role, which I would have preferred.
Really?
Right, because I love selling. Right, so I was interviewed for a sales role. But when they now saw my credentials and saw my CV, I'm like, first class accounting. Come to
Hey,
finance.
flex it.
Yeah,
say it
right.
again. Say it again. First class accounting.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, and I'll come back to that.
All right.
So when they saw my CV, they said, "Oh no, you're very good in accounting. You're even chartered." Because before I got the job, I was already chartered. Right. So he said, no, we even have more vacancy in finance department.
Okay.
So come to finance. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything. So you get, I took up the offer, and then I started working in the finance role. And I loved what I did, but I always wanted diversity. I always wanted to be able to do, I didn't just want to do one thing. And one of the advantages of selling or of doing business is that no 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
Right? Today you have a tax you have to resolve. Tomorrow something else comes up. Next tomorrow a different type of client comes up. So no scenario is the same. But with the role I was doing, it was just the same. Everything. So I wanted to evolve from that, which I eventually did.
Okay. So you started your first business when? After your professional career or after working? What business did you go into? How did you leave that place of work?
Okay.
And why?
So after NYC,
why.
I was selling jewelry.
Okay.
This is all after school, right?
Okay.
So after NYC, I was selling jewelry. Not to forget, I said I love to teach, right? I taught about 30 to 40 people how to make jewelry.
Wow.
I organized trainings. There were trainings I did for like 3 days, 1 week, 3 months. So 3 months training, and then I would advertise it on Facebook and say 4 Saturdays, and this is the amount, and people paid. And I was able to do that. So I trained people. So at some point while I was working, it was getting really hectic, one of the people I trained told me she was looking for a job. So I said, okay, do you want to be making this? When I have others, you'll be making an hour. She said yes, right? So she started doing that, and I was paying her for every order. I wasn't paying her a fixed salary, but for every order that she makes, I will pay her, right? So I was doing that all through while I was working. And then sometime in between all of that, the opportunity came for me to sell hair extensions. Right? I am one that always picks on opportunities. When there is a need, when I locate a need and I have a solution for that, or I have the value to offer that, I jump on it. I don't wait, I jump on it. So the opportunity came to sell hair extensions. I wasn't too sure if I'm not a hair person. I'm not before. Well, maybe not now, but before I was not an hair person. So I wasn't sure. Do I want to be selling Peruvian hair, Brazilian hair? So I said, okay, let me tell you. So I told the person, he's an Indian. He was like my senior colleague at the office. I said, okay, give me pictures. Let me put it. So he sent me pictures. He gave me prices, and then I put it on my phone. Then BlackBerry, then BBM, and then I just put on my status. Buy L. That's all. The next thing, boom.
What?
So people are buying it like this. At that time, I knew nothing about it. So people just kept saying, how much is this? I was saying, hey, okay. And I went to the man, sir. Oh yeah, what are the details? How do I know this? Started getting more information, started reading about it, started watching videos on YouTube and all about it. And then, so for everybody, I said, I want this, I want this. Everything they ask for, I said, I have it, I have it. Yes, I have it. And then that's how the hair business started.
Wow.
So I was doing that on the side as well. So now I was doing the jewelry business and the hair business on
While
the side
still working.
while still working.
Wow.
So most times I close from work by 5, get home maybe by 6 or 6:30 or 7, and then from there my night work starts. And then I'm taking pictures, I'm beading, I'm working till like 2, I go and sleep.
That's some discipline.
And
were
then-
you married then?
No, I wasn't married
Okay,
at that
okay.
time. So I'm working till like 2, and then I go to sleep. By 6 a.m. I'm out of the house again because my house was quite far from the office. And then, you know, that went on and on. Saturdays, I was not going anywhere. I'm at home working and answering customers and all that. And then, so this went on for all the time I was
4
working,
years.
but I
Okay.
tried to make sure it wasn't affecting my work.
Okay.
Now, getting to a point where I decided, you know what, I want to go into business full time. So I had always had it in mind that I wanted to go into business full time, but then I was not sure. So, I got married in 2014. I got married end of 2014, and then but I was still working a year after that.
Yeah.
And then I got pregnant. I was pregnant with twins, right? And I was fine. I was okay. You know, everything was okay. When it's time for antenatal, I went from all my antenatal checks.
Wow.
And then on they call it one fateful day. So on one particular day, I went for checkup, and you know, I was supposed to do the scan to check the sex of the babies.
Baby.
We were eager. My husband was saying, no, it's 2 boys. I said, no, it's a boy and a girl. And you know, we just had that banter and all that. And then we went to the hospital. Okay, so the hospital I was in, I was registered and said, I was going to do the test the following time when next I come.
Yeah.
But we were eager. We could not wait. We wanted to know on time. So we went to another hospital. And we went there, and then they just said, you know, they started asking funny questions. When last did you hear your baby's breathe? I'm like, no, I don't know. I've not been pregnant before, so I really can't tell. But they just kept looking at each other. Me, I would look at my husband like, what's going on? And then they said, okay, go and wait at the reception. And then we went to wait, and then after some time, the doctor called us back. We got in, we had not even sat down. And the doctor said, madam, your babies are dead.
Just like that?
Just like that. I literally almost fell. My husband had to hold me. And, you know, I'm like, okay.
I wish I could call out that hospital, but that's not why we're here.
Okay, right. So he just said, madam, your babies are dead. Ow.
Madam, your babies are dead.
Yeah, that was it. I could not process it. We could not process anything. It was like film trick. Why? How? What happened? I'm fine. I'm healthy. Jigget, nothing. There was no episode, nothing at all. And that was it. And he said, we need to take them out. You know, of course, we just, left.
Yeah, because
left
that was not
there.
your hospital.
Yeah, that was not. So we left there, went back to the hospital, went back to our own hospital, did several tests and all that. Eventually, we had to take them out. Right. So it was a very trying season.
Wow.
It was a season where I did not just want to even do anything at all.
Yes.
It was a season where even at work, even when that happened, so that happened maybe on a Friday, we took them out on a Friday. I had the operation on a Friday, and then by Monday my boss was asking me, okay, when are you resuming and all? And in short,
did your boss know about it?
So maybe at that time, to be fair, maybe he didn't know at that time, but then I now later, told them, and then I think I was giving about a week or so. And then, and that was fine. I was actually fine. I didn't even have anything against any of that. But after that, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to go fully into business, right? Wow. And then, so after that, I dropped my resignation and I left. I wasn't angry at anybody about anything, but I was just like, you know what? Let me just do what I want to do. Yeah. Right? Because it
was the stress of the work part of.
So it wasn't a case of stress, but maybe I was stressed and I did not know. Maybe. But I didn't feel at that time it was a case of stress. But at that time, it just got to a point like, okay, let me just face what I really want to do now and do it. So at that time, and then at that same time, a number of my friends were pregnant and were expecting. And I saw that each person had to go to the markets, had to wait for their moms to go with them to the market, because most of us were first time pregnant women, right? So each person had to wait for their moms or their aunties or big sisters or something to take them to the market. So I started thinking, okay, what if there is a solution where people can get everything they need for their babies
Yes.
in the comfort of their homes without stepping into the market. Because
Yeah.
why will you be pregnant and be going to the market? The market
Yeah.
is rough,
Yeah.
unless you want to buy it in stores, in mainstream stores or something. I mean, why would you be walking all around? So I'm like, okay, let's do that stress for you. Set up a platform, an e-commerce platform, put every single thing you need from when you're pregnant to when you have a baby till even 1 year after. And all you need to do is, with a few clicks of a button, you get all those things delivered to your doorstep. So we're bringing convenience to you, and that's where Babies 21 came from. Babies, we're thinking of a name. Okay, Babies 21, the 21st century babies. I mean, olden days you must go to market, but 21st century you don't have to, and you get everything you want. And then that's how Babies 21 came up. So we started Babies 21, and then it also came, like, from my experience. I also wanted it to be a platform where people could share their experiences, because after what happened, before it happened, I never knew that people lost their babies during pregnancy. I had heard of, okay, maybe during delivery, but I never really I was 6 months pregnant, my tummy was huge, how did I had heard of, okay, earlier on in pregnancy, but after it happened, I started coming across stories of people that happened to, and I got comfort from that also, and ultimately God comforted us, right? But that's where Babies 21 came up from.
So you're doing the beads, you're doing the hair, and you
started
Babies
21. Yes. But at this time though, I had slowed down on the beads because it was kind of going out of fashion in a way. And then apart from that, it was really stressful. So while I was pregnant, I could not really do much of sitting down for long hours to bead and all of that. So I had paused or slowed down on the beads at that time. So it was just the hair and Babies 21. So we set up the e-commerce platform, pushing it, pushed it, and gained a lot of traction on it. And then that went on actually for about 6 years or so till we paused it. Yes. And then I'll speak about the travels. So the travels did not...
I know that's I'm eager for you to get there, actually.
Okay. So the travels did not... I usually tell, in short, when people ask me, so how old is Lery? I go travels. I'm always thinking, how many years do I say? If I say we started at 2014, it means we're 10 years old. If I say we started at 2018, official, I usually say we officially launched Lery Oiku, which was then Lery B Travels, in 2018. However, travel started in 2014 while I was still working. Again, an opportunity came. Right, I got into it. There was a community I was a part of where there was, and then they had a travels arm of it. So they said, okay, sell this to people. It was just like an affiliate marketing kind of thing. Sell this to people and you get a commission. So travels was part of it. So I'm like, okay, let me sell it. So I started telling people I do travels. I told a colleague of mine, said, okay. And then my colleague now told me that, his family wants to travel. I said, okay, let's run it for you. And then he said there are 9 of them.
Wow.
There are 9 of them. And then I said, okay. So I reached out to my affiliate partners and said, okay, give me rates for this, right? Meanwhile, I was also checking online, and they came back to me, and the rates they gave me were higher than what I could get online. I'm like, if you're going to give me higher rates, how will I even be able to add any margin and still sell it to my colleague who is seeing stuff online, right? And one thing that I was always very particular about was getting deals for people, because apart from even travels, but maybe we should enter that one, but apart from travels, I've sold other things. I've sold rings, I've sold stuff.
How many things have you sold? Just list them out. Rings, sales person. Let's go through the journey.
Okay, I've sold chin, I've printed, I've sold air, still sell air. Sold rings. I've done events, business. I've sold
God.
everything sellable. Many
Okay.
things sellable, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I like getting good deals for people. So when these people came back to me and the price was,
Pretty high.
pretty high compared to what I could see online by
Yeah.
myself, I'm like, no, this can't be. But at that time, I'd already told him that I do travel.
Yes,
So I
you
could
have to
not
do
go
travels.
back. So I could not go back to tell him, I'm no more doing it. I said, no, we must deliver. Right. So I started researching on my own, found some, already established companies online, called them, okay, this is what I want. This is what I want. I already have some people that are interested. How much commissions are you going to give me if I do this? And we signed agreements. And that started off. Gave him a good deal. Him and his family went to Dubai, had a great time.
Wow.
And that was it. And this was in 2014. So our first major gig was a family of 9 in 2014.
Wow, 2014.
10 years ago. But then this was just by the side, so I was not really pushing it. I was fine. I was working, I wasn't really pushing it, right? And then after I had stopped working, I started Babies 21 now. So I wasn't actually even pushing travels at that time. But I just realized that people kept on reaching out to me. My former colleagues would reach out to me, say, Omo, help me look for tickets. Omo, help me look for, my honeymoon is, I'm getting married. Plan my honeymoon for me. And then I'll plan it for them. You get, and it just kept on going like that. I'm like, so in 2018, I finally decided that, you know what, this travel, let me now push it, like, fully push it. And that's where Lery Travels started officially. Even
Lery
though,
B, yeah, that's true.
Yes, it was Lery Travels then. We changed to Lery. What was the word now? We changed to Lery.
Why was it Lery B? How did you come about that name?
Okay, why was it Lery? So Lery is from my name.
Yeah.
B is from my middle name, Benita.
Okay.
So it was just Lery Travels. But in 2021, we saw that, we're a global brand.
Hey.
So we cannot be Lery Travels.
Okay.
And we transitioned into Lery.
So what's the Hago?
Ago is from my maiden name. Olga. My maiden name is Olga.
Okay.
So it was just
OGAH.
Yes,
so you
just the reverse.
invest.
Yes. And it was, how did it come about? We're trying to think of a company to, myself and my husband were thinking of a company to name to register. But we also wanted a name that was this thing, and we came up with Lery.
So you
and then later checking Ago online, if you check, it means have a good one. So it just kind of
tied into each other. So you said you started these travels was in 2014.
Yep.
Right. And that was about the time that you left your place of work.
No, I left early 2016. So in 2014, the travels was still by the side. It was just so I wasn't seriously pursuing it because I had a whole lot of work to do in the office. So I wasn't seriously. It was just one of my colleagues, and most of my customers there were probably my colleagues. I wasn't advertising anything. So just say, Omo, help me check this. I'm like, okay, I'll check. Get commission from the suppliers on it, and that's it.
I have a question. It's been rosy, right? All rosy. You just started Lery, boom, 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 and it's become international. We've seen that you've had some, what do they call it? I've noticed that you've had some influencers, you've sponsored people outside the country, you've done big stuff, and everybody's shouting, Lery Hago, when will you carry us? How has it been? Has it been challenging?
So definitely it has not been all rosy. I mentioned, you're flying
people everywhere.
So I mentioned, we had our first group trip in 2014, but that group trip, I still cried. God, who sent a message?
Really?
Why? Because the visas did not come out on time. The visas did not come out till they were in the airports. So you can imagine me, small girl like me, that said I do travels, and this was my first trip ever. And somebody went to go and tell his parents, and they paid money, and they were not staying in Lagos. So they flew into Lagos to fly. They were at the international airport, and the visa did not come. Was not out.
Were you at the airport with them?
I was not at the airport. I was
What
crying.
was what
I
was
was crying. I was, well, not
what,
crying and not doing anything, but I didn't even know what to do. What do I do? This was my first time. But, I was just communicating with them. It will come out. It will come out. And then when they dropped the call, I was like, hey,
that's very
God,
gutsy.
who sent
Wait,
message?
what if it didn't? Okay, we can't go. We can't say what if it didn't come
Thank
out.
God they traveled. They came back. Everything. Loved it, right? Until today, they still
Wait,
travel with us.
is that not meant
But-
to be like a period before the travel date that the
Yeah,
visa
so
will come
everything was supposed to come out. But sometimes with visas, these things happen. They could tell you 3 days, 5 days, but sometimes it can take 2 weeks and you don't know why. And you can't question immigration.
What did you do? Sorry, what did you do that made the visa come out? That
I was
evening?
praying, I was praying because if I don't pray,
What?
you get what am I going to do? So when you say it was all
That's
rosy,
very risky.
no, it was risky. Why?
Hey, as an
God,
entrepreneur.
you get so the visas finally came out. So what I'm just trying to say is that with business there will always be challenges,
Yeah.
right? So even if you look at even people way ahead of you in business and they're like, these people, they don't have business, they don't have
problems,
challenge.
yeah.
Rather, the only difference is that everybody has challenges,
Yeah.
but your own challenge is different from their challenge.
Yeah.
So you are probably dealing with small challenges, but they are dealing with multi-billion challenges,
yeah.
right? But nothing ever is ever like all rosy. In the travel business especially,
Yeah.
I always say, and I always tell my team, you should expect that whatever could possibly go wrong will go wrong. Right? Expect that whatever could possibly go wrong will go wrong.
Yes.
And then do everything you can to make sure it does not go wrong
Beforehand.
beforehand.
That's brilliant.
Right? So if, for instance, we're a luxury travel concierge, we plan that, we're picking up our clients from the airport. We have arranged the car hire. We have paid them and all of that. We have done everything that we need to do.
Yeah.
Right? And the driver is supposed to pick our clients up far away in maybe Qatar or somewhere at 3 a.m. Maybe that's when their flight ends. Right? And you can't just go and sleep and assume that the clients will be picked up. Right from 12 midnight, you would have said, calling, where are you? Are you at the airport? Are you waiting? Are you,
That's so stressful.
Because if you don't do that, you call and the driver will tell you, I thought it was 3 p.m. So what will happen to the clients that is stranded at the airport? Right? So we always have to, think of whatever could come up. Whatever challenge could happen, and then as much as possible, as much as is within our power, ensure that it does not come up. Yes, there's times where maybe there's some things that unforeseen and all that.
Yeah.
There are also ways to manage that, right? But it's not a walk in the park. It's never a walk in the park. A lot of work goes into building it.
So how do you build relationships all across the globe? Because you have to have deals not just with people here. You're having deals with people. There was a time you said whether Tanzania, Singapore. You're well traveled, Yeah, you go to all these places, yeah. We want to be like you. So how was COVID?
COVID was COVID. So, it wasn't an easy period at all because nobody was traveling. There was standstill. There was total lockdown. Just before the COVID lockdown in March, if I believe, we're just like second week of March, we're planning a mega group trip for Easter. So we had secured flight tickets. We had paid the deposit, 50 flight tickets, if I remember. 50 flight tickets were paid, and we got such a good deal from the airline. So we're very positive that yes, we're going to sell this, and we're going to push all marketing techniques and all that to sell it off. Right. So after we paid, we started selling. In short, some people paid.
Yeah.
Some people have paid and then they said lockdown. No, first of all, when people were paying,
lockdown.
We started hearing news of COVID is this, more cases in this. We're praying it should not reach Nigeria. It should not reach Nigeria.
Where were you traveling to? Was it Dubai? Yeah.
It's not in the next thing. They say one man has brought it to Nigeria. And then it just went on and like that till they finally called for a lockdown in Nigeria. There was already lockdown in a lot of other cities, right? So it wasn't at that point like, what do we do? So people who had paid already, at that time nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to expect.
Yeah.
So they were first waiting. Then after like, a 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they started reaching out. We can't travel again, because we were even praying that maybe after 1 week they will say,
Let's go.
So it was obvious that no travel could happen anytime soon. So they started saying, okay, we're not traveling again. No, we need our money back.
Hi.
So I had to explain to them that, okay, I understand, but this is the situation. As you have paid, we have also paid the airline.
Yes.
And now the airline is saying, oh, they can't refund us. We wrote series and series of letters saying, see, you have to refund, though. In this case, you must refund.
Yes.
Because this is not our doing.
Yeah.
Right? But eventually they said, they approved the refund and they started processing.
100%?
Yes, 100%. But
Wow.
they started processing it, but that took months. So all through those months, I had to constantly reassure the clients that you will get your money, you will get your money. We eventually were able to refund everybody. Everything they paid for. So throughout COVID, there was nothing. Travels were a standstill. But then, because it was not just travels, there was the air business.
Yeah.
There was the air business, and then there was also the packaging as well. That's another story.
Okay.
Anyway, so there was the air business, right? And just before COVID also, we had said, okay, we wanted to push Easter sales for air. So we started marketing, right? Then COVID came, there was lockdown.
People bought hair during COVID?
People bought air during COVID. And that was one situation that taught me that, see, no matter what you're doing, if you market aggressively, you will sell.
Why did people buy hair during COVID? Nobody was going out. Nobody.
Okay, yes. So during COVID, so aside from the travels, there was also the air business.
Yeah.
Right. And just before COVID, we had started advertising Easter sales for air for weeks. Everything was supposed to go perfectly well. We're even saying, oh, buy, for every air you buy, you get a gift. In short, there was a full activation plan in my head, like we'll even go on the street safe to share flyer, and all of that. But then COVID happened.
Yeah.
But when COVID happened, travel was on a standstill. We decided that, we're not going to stop advertising air. The worst case scenario is that people will say no.
Yeah.
Right? So during that period, we just continued advertising, continued posting the videos that, we had captured already, even did some Facebook ads. In those Facebook ads, there were comments that would say, now wow, people are selling food to eat during lockdown. You are selling. But it was hard to ignore some of those comments sometimes, but I tried as much as possible to ignore the comments. And then there were people that would reach out to us and say, this COVID, let me just buy 2 weeks to make myself feel happy. I'm not going anywhere, but let me just buy and keep. Can you deliver? And then even at that point, I would even say, oh, we can't deliver, but maybe after this, the air is available, we'll deliver.
And people
after.
paid.
And then people paid.
With the promise of delivery after lockdown.
They were fine with it. They just wanted, because there was a sale, so it was at a discounted price.
Wow.
So people were ready to, let them just feel happy. Let them just be seeing the air. They're not
Indeed,
going
saleswoman.
anywhere. Right? So they just and when we just kept on pushing it. So that period just taught me that, when you are in business, if you are in business or whatever it is that you do, people need to know about it. You can't be good. You can't have a good product that nobody knows about. If you have a good product, if you have a good service, the world must know about it. It's just like, how the Bible says, you cannot be the light of the world and be hiding under a chair or be hiding somewhere. How will people see the lights if you hide it? Right? Same thing with our businesses, same thing with the services that we render. We must market it. And of course, even while we market it, there is the grace of God on top of it as well. But God will not come down and do something for us when we're not doing anything. Right? We must be doing something. For everything that God has wanted to has done, there's always what is in your hands. What are you doing? Okay, this is what you have. It will be multiplied. I know. So in business, you must market aggressively. You must market, because if you don't market, people that don't have as good products as you do, or who their services are not as good as yours will be making all the money, and you can't blame them because
That's
those are the
true.
people that people are seeing.
You have to
Right?
be in people's
Yeah.
faces.
Yes, you must always be in people's faces. So that taught us, even though I'm not saying, okay, so after that we have been perfect in our marketing. No, of course, there are times where, you're marketing and nobody is buying, but you have to continue. You have to keep at it because you don't know when that will
Consistency.
pay off. Right? So even when there are challenges, there are a lot of times I've said, who sent you message? I've cried. Is at least maybe during COVID, if I was still working, and maybe they'll be paying me salary. But now I have to I have to also
Double your hustle.
right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of times I've thought about, for every time I say it's okay to say who sent you message, but after you finish saying it, continue your work.
Yes.
Right. So for every time I've said wahala, who sent you message,
you get up again.
I stand up again and keep moving.
Okay, so when was the last time? Give me the time where you said, man, you wanted to throw in. I know you've had a lot of who sent me message. Was there any time you wanted to throw in the towel, like, I'm not doing again? For the hair, you're still doing the hair now, and for the travels, like, you just said, see, enough. Let me dust my CV and just start again, or go into another business.
So there have been some times that I've been close to that, but most times what usually happens is when I sleep and wake up, I continue. So there's never been a time I don't see myself doing that.
Wow.
I don't know. But it's the grace of God that is strengthening me, really.
Yeah.
Because there's never really been a time like I don't see myself doing anything other than what I'm doing currently, which is business, which is constantly giving value. So I'm one that I love different sources of income, and that's led me to be a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I will always be doing business, right? It might not be, it could be what I'm doing currently, it could be different types of business, it could be several other businesses in
Tomorrow
addition.
You can be selling states.
Yeah.
You can be selling ships. You can be selling planets.
So it could be, it could be anything. I don't know, as
amazing.
As I'm led. But I feel like unless that changes, I really don't know. But till date, I've not gotten to that point whereby I'm like, there are a lot of near cases. There are a lot of cases like, man, I'm tired. But it's almost like, when you're on a journey and then you get to the middle and there's
pressure.
There's pressure, or there are challenges, or there are problems, and you're thinking, I'm tired. So if you're tired, you will walk back to the beginning. And so it's either you walk back to the beginning or you move forward. So I'm like, if I'm already at this point, if I've already come this far, where I am now is not where I used to be 10 years ago. So if I've already come this far, why should I now be going back? True. Why not go forward, right? I'm like, okay, the same energy I used to walk back, let me use it to be going forward small.
Push a little further.
That consistency pays in business. Consistency pays. Just keep doing what you're doing. You might not see the results immediately. Rome was not built in a day. It's not a cliche saying, it's the truth. Nothing great was built in one day. It was consistent steps, consistent building, toiling, and then our papa says, people will meet him and say, can you tell me, in a nutshell, how you made it in life? I cannot tell you in a nutshell. It is never a nutshell. If you want, come and sit down for 5 years. You can. It's not a nutshell. It's consistent building. Where we are today is not where we used to be.
Amazing. What's the future like? What's the future like for Lery Hago? I know that you're going to go into many countries. You're going to have many. Like, what's the plan? And I wanted to ask a question, but I think you've answered it. Has Africa or Nigeria affected you in any way? Definitely.
Definitely. There are different things to contend with.
Yes.
Just by being Nigerian.
How you mentally, where do you get that mental stamina from? I know you sleep and wake up. I know maybe when you dream, the forces are with you. They just gear you up again, and but how do you stay sane in a climate? So a lot of forces. You are dealing with many issues, maybe governmental policies. You're dealing with inflation. Yeah, and people are still traveling. One,
Yes, people are still
but how do you maintain that stamina? Because you said you've never gotten to. I have gotten to the point where I just thought of,
But did
man.
you stop?
Yeah.
Did you stop when you got to that point?
It took a lot, but you just sleep and wake up. And
No, it's not. Okay, it's not that easy. No, it's not. It's
so
not that
that
easy.
mental stamina, what built it in you? I know you're very gritty. I know you. I know that. In case you don't know this lady, she's what's the word? I'm looking for that one word. That she's daring, very bold. She takes like, big risks, and is always net positive. She's always is like spiraling upward. So I've seen you, but tell us, like, what gives you? Where did you get that from? That grit, that tenacity.
So I would say that I've always had a spirit of perseverance. When I set my mind to something, I always want to see it to completion.
First class students, you set your
Now,
mind.
speaking of, thank God you said that. Speaking of that, I studied accounting in university. However, I was a science student in secondary school.
Wow.
I was pure science student. I was supposed to study medicine, MBBS, Unilag, or MBBS, any of the other schools that have medicine. I was supposed to study medicine. I mean, I got admission to medicine, but along the line, I changed. Don't ask me why I changed. I don't even know, but I'm sure it was definitely for a reason. Along the line, went into Covenant University, studied accounting. Picked accounting because, I love maths. I like maths, so I love numbers, right? But when I started 100 level, I didn't know anything about accounting, nothing at all. So 100 level, the first few weeks is like almost like revision of secondary school. So when the teacher is saying, you debit here and you credit here, everybody will chorus the answer. Me, I'll be looking, okay, so I was never answering any question.
How is that even possible?
Because I did not know.
You need some other things.
Yeah, well, I had social sciences, so I had economics, I had geography, and so I got admission. That was fine, right? But first few weeks, first months, I didn't understand anything. So the teacher or the lecturer would say, what is this? Before he has finished talking, everybody has answered. Me, I'll be looking, no problem. But what I did, I knew that if I'm going to study this accounting, I must finish well. And by finishing well, I must finish with the first class.
Wow.
Right? And how will I finish the first class if I don't even know anything? So right from 100 level, I had beyond books that they had recommended. I was buying books like Accounting for Beginners, Accounting for Dummies. I was not a dummy. I was
Who advised you? Did you have like a mentor or somebody, or you just did it by yourself?
No, I just did it myself.
Okay,
I was not a dummy. I was the best science student in my secondary school, right? But I was getting, because at that point I knew nothing about it, so I was not trying to form I'm intelligent. So after class, every single day, while everybody is going to the hostel, I'll go and eat, but from cafeteria like this straight to the library. So for every topic that our lecturer has taught us, so maybe topic 1, introduction to accounting, I will have at least 5 different textbooks of accounting in front of me from the library. I didn't have all those
clapping
books.
For you. Okay, go on.
Right. So I'll have 5 different books. That introduction to accounting like this, I'll first read the notes, the lecture notes, and then read it in all the books, including the one that was for beginners.
Wow.
So it was broken down from the basics. Like, okay, this is it. Okay. And then I continued like that. Every single day I was in the library. In short, till they locked the library, they used to come and chase me. Like, okay, we want to lock the library, come and be going. Most times I'll leave library 10 o'clock. When I get to hostel, it's me they're waiting for before they lock the gates of the hostel, right? So I was doing that all through first semester. And end of first semester, I had a 4.9. Almost the best result in my class, right?
There was somebody higher than you.
Yes, there was a 5 points. There was a 5 points. I had 1B in a course that was not even a core accounting course, it was a general course, right? But I saw that also built my resolve that really whatever you set your mind to is possible. Whatever you think you can do it. So You
It only
shouldn't.
takes time and serious
It only
effort.
takes time and effort. You need to put in the work. But if you want to do something, you will do it. If you want to set
Actually.
up a great business, you can do it. Right?
Wow.
You only just have to put in the
You
work.
need to say that again. You need to set up a great business.
If you want to set up a great business, you can do it.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. You only need to put in the time. You only need to prepare yourself. You only need to, put in the efforts, put in the energy. I couldn't be in 100 level and be wishing that I will get first class. Then people that know it, they are going to their hostel. Me too, I'll follow them and be going to hostel. No, they knew it.
That is so salient. Don't compare your strengths or your weaknesses or other people's strengths with your own strengths. Let me put it this way. Don't look at other people's strength and follow suit with their planning process.
Because you don't know where they are coming from. And also, you're not going to the same place.
That's what. So you did your own SWOT analysis. In case you didn't know, you did your SWOT analysis, and you said, "See, these guys are going to their own hostels. I can't compare myself to them." So whatever it took to, so you looked at what it was going to take between yourself and what you call success, and you did whatsoever it took. You put in the time, put in the resources, put in the effort. I think that's very brilliant. I think it's not said enough that a person wakes up or does a strategy a certain way, wakes up by 3 a.m. to read, does not mean that's your peak period to read. It doesn't mean that's when you assimilate the most. Some people read in noise. Some people read. So, have your own style that works for you. Know
yourself and do what works for you. And in saying know yourself, so for instance, I love maths. I'm very good at maths, right? But I don't like theoretical courses. So there was a particular course we had, political science. That one, I said, this one, I must get A in it. And it was really tough for me because I don't like long English. I just like going straight to the point with maths, right? So I remember clearly that when we're having our first semester exams, we had, I think we had a maths course. Let's say today is Monday now. The next day we had maths. Then the third day we had political science, right? So everybody was reading maths, practicing maths, solving. Me, I was reading political science. So people were even coming to me saying, is maths we're having tomorrow, not political science. I said, Shebi is maths now. Don't worry about that one. I was reading political science of 2 days, ahead, right? Because I knew that political science, I'm not strong in it. I have to read it well to be able to do it well. But for maths, these people that are reading is probably, they have to do that, which is fine, right? But for me, I just need to know the formula. I don't need to cram anything for maths and I'm good, right? And that was it. And that was what worked for me. I got A in the maths, got A in the political science as well, because I knew myself and I prepared adequately for what I knew that could be a challenge for me. And I said earlier where you say think about whatever could possibly go wrong and do everything you can. So for political science, what could have gone wrong there is that I'll forget everything and I'll get D or but I saw it, I said no,
can you imagine?
I can't get D. So,
her mind is so far above F that she didn't see herself saying
F
I could have gotten
F
D.
is not a consideration.
She was afraid of D.
I was afraid of D, yes. So it was, that was it.
Amazing. It's been fun. Think of whatever can go wrong, and it's possible, that can possibly go wrong, and do whatever it takes to mitigate it, even before time. Then, whatever you can conceive or you think is possible, you can actually achieve. These and many more we've learned this period. So, there's something we'll do here, and before I go there, what would you say have been? Let me ask this question: What would you say have been your most or your biggest influences? Books, mentors, sessions that that, man, this session really defined who I was. Right?
Okay, so my biggest influences, I would say, seeing people do things, seeing people achieve things. So now when we talk about mentors, I don't necessarily see mentors as people that I'm particularly in contact with or people that mentors sometimes are far away people. So people who are far away, but people who have achieved great results over time. Those are, I mean, if this person can do it, I can do it. If this person can build this, I can do this. So that's generally, as
What about books?
inspired me. Books, yes. I'm still, trying to,
Is there one book that you've read and you said, wow, everybody should read this?
none is coming to mind now.
Okay,
actually,
okay.
because I'm still on that, right? None is coming to mind now.
You're going to give a shout out in that camera to anybody who has helped you, anybody who has inspired you, anyone who has been there for you, and you just want them to know how much you love them, or how, So just think back, take like a second or two.
That needs to be long.
And we'll try to just put it in bullet points,
Right, that needs to be
shout out to the top 20 of them, or the top 15,
right,
or the top 10.
Try.
Just try.
I'll try.
Hey, I'm sure that is not, she can't capture everybody now because I put her on the spot. Remember to put that there. I put her on the spot, but yeah, people that come to mind now that you're grateful for, that camera.
All right. First of all, I'd like to shout out to my husband, my best friend of how many years now?
How many years?
My best friend of 18 years, actually.
Wow.
My best friends, we've been best friends since 100 level in school. And from best friends, we became lovers. From lovers to husband and wife. But, it's been such a great support system. Avi, I love you so much. Thank you for always being by my side. Thank you for always, in short, some of these ideas I've been saying, this thing I have had. Sometimes all I have to do is just say, babe, I'm thinking of this thing. That's all. Before you know it, Avi has brought out laptop and he's like, so what's
Flesh
this?
it out. Wow.
I'm like, at least let us sleep and wake up tomorrow morning to continue, right? But he's always like, we need to do this now. So it's been such a great support system. Even at those times we talk about where, he said, what has made you not give up is one of the major factors. Amazing. To be honest. Because when I'm like, babe, I'm tired, and I'm like, no, you can do this. You are a superstar. You are this. You are this. You can do this. This is my husband. The best husband in the world for me. Wow. Thank you so much, Abby.
Yeah.
I also like to shout out to my parents. My parents have always supported me. Even though they don't buy into all the ideas, right? For instance, why will you finish with a first class from school and you want to start selling? Why? Right? But one thing about parents is they will always support you. And when they support you, don't let them down. You need to show them results. So you cannot be flimsy with that. They want to say, okay, do it, let's see what you can do. And constantly they have seen results. So now anything they hear, I want to do, even though I don't live under them anymore, they're like, okay, is it not you? You're fine, right? But my parents have always supported me, right, for everything that I've done. For every website that has launched, my dad is always the first customer.
Wow.
Paid customer. It will go on the website, Babies 21. The moment we launch, in short, it's not even turned to pressure, because we said we're launching June 1st, 12 noon. 12:01, my dad called me. The site is not up. I said, well, my dad called me. The site is not up. And we're still trying to do some things on the back end. But you said 12. Okay, I said, sorry, Dad. Sorry, sir. It will come up by 6. He said, okay. 6:01. I'm checking. It's not opening, right?
Wow.
But when it finally opened for him, he ordered. He paid for baby products. I don't know what he wanted to use for. He was giving it to somebody, but he paid for delivery and got it. So my parents have always been, good support system to me. Amazing. And then my friends, I have a great circle of friends. You can't do life alone. In business, you can't do life alone. In life generally, whether career or business, you cannot do life alone. You need people to do life with. You need people you can run to. There are so many of them. I'll start with Mr. Jegs. Mr. Jegs and his lovely wife, they're like great people in my circle, and there's so many people that, in short, if I start mentioning this, I don't want some people to vex if I don't call their name, right? But I have a great support system. There are friends that I have that, I could call up and say, see, I'm having this challenge. How could you help me? Who can you help me call? Who do you know? And they're always there. Right, in business you can't build a successful business without relationships. You can't say, I'm in an island of my own and you're just there. You don't have any friend, you don't have anybody to call, you don't have anybody to say, help me call somebody. Do you know that a lot of times that I've had to reach out to an airline, and then I remember a friend of mine that probably works in that airline or knows somebody that works in that airline, and is able to just help me resolve the issue. Right, so you always need people in your circle. You always need people that you can always speak with, that can always be there for you, and you also be there for them. So I'd like to shout out to all my lovely friends. I really, really appreciate you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And before we round off, one more thing. You're going to speak to that young African business person who just started business and is saying, how do I go about it? What are the principles I need to have? etc. If you could say 1, 2, 3 things within that same minute, what will it be? And principles that you want that young African or old African that is even any age, all ages, that just wants to go into business, what are the principles you give them?
So one thing I would, like to say to, you is just starting out, people are just starting out, or even being in business for years, one thing that is there to me is excellence. It's a principle I hold highly. And for me, excellence, simply put, is you do it right or you do it again. So there are two things. You either do it right or you do it again. That has stood out for me, and that has put me in rooms that I ordinarily won't have gotten into. You either do it right or do it again. Now, you might be excellent even in the very little things that nobody is noticing, but that's where consistency comes in. You need to continue being excellent. You need to continue being excellent, because by the time the light beams on you, you will be found doing what you are doing excellently well.
Amazing. And with that, we come to the end of this episode of See You Unscripted on Mr. Jegs Africa. Thank you very much, Lery, of Lery Hago, of Lery Businesses, of Lery to the World. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Have an amazing day, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
So, guys, I've been reminded to tell you to do something very important. I mean, it's so important we had to come back again. So I'd like to have your attention. Just 1 second. Are you ready? Ready. Calm down. Ready? Subscribe. Just click it. It doesn't hurt. It just adds to the channel. And hey, subscribe. And click on the notification button. As soon as you do that, when a new episode comes out, you're going to be the first to know. How about that? Okay, support us. Just subscribe. Okay? See you next week.